The Inmotion V13. I love the Inmotion V13 from what I've seen. I obviously don't own it. It's a very expensive wheel. But just looking at the consensus of the community, I feel like where the V13 fell short is the amount of watt hours for the battery. To charge that amount for such a heavy wheel and not be able to ride as far as you can, it just leaves a bad taste. And I also feel like the air suspension, you know, the way the Sherman S just came and just kind of took his foot from under it, just pulled the rug and the mat from under it. It's a little sad. I feel like the build quality of the Inmotion V13 is second to none. Nobody ever have to speak about that. Like, we already know that it's a quality product. The amount of safety that they put into that wheel is just incredible. But I feel like if I was in a market for an Inmotion V13, which I'm not, I would rather wait, because I feel like it might be a situation that's similar to the Commander. The Begol Commander was, I mean, everybody was excited about. I'm lying. People wasn't really that excited about the wheel, but people was happy for a new company because we seen what happened with Veteran. Obviously, it was a Veteran Sherman clone, and it wasn't as good, and it didn't live up to the hype as much. But what I'm talking about is the amount of money that got slashed off the top from that wheel. I feel like if people waited out, don't buy into the hype, you'll be able to get an Inmotion V13 for close to 35 to 3600. Quote me on that. I feel like the sales Inmotion was expecting from the V13 didn't reach the amount that they wanted. And I feel like it's going to get to the point where people are just going to be choosing the Sherman S over the V13, because there's no edge where the V13 beats out the Sherman except for safety, quote unquote. But the reason why that's not as big of a deal as most people want to talk about is because the Veteran Sherman is known as one of the safest wheels. Like, Veteran brand is just known as one of the safest wheels. And I feel like I love what Veteran is doing, because they're putting their foot on everybody's neck with the patent, the Sherman S. They're making sure that they cover all their bases, because I feel like Veteran is doing what Inmotion has been doing for the last few years. They're bringing quality wheels in, but they're catering to different markets. So their patent is catering to a market that want a smaller wheel, a more nimble wheel, a wheel that people can go on trails with, that has the suspension, but it's kind of not as heavy. You know, it's in that 90 range, that 90-mile range. They feel like that can apply to the people that buy the Veteran Sherman. So it's not really too much out of the realm of capabilities of people who managed having Shermans for this long, because 86 pounds to close to 90 pounds is not that big of a difference. I feel like people are not going to really notice it. And the increased amount of quality product, which the Veteran's patent, and the fact that it goes faster, that is the most important thing. And that's where I feel like the V13 kind of put itself in a weird position, because the V13 doesn't go faster than the Master Pro, or it doesn't go faster than the EX30, or it doesn't go faster than a lot of the wheels that's out there, but it lacks in the range. So it's like, people will choose the Master Pro because it goes as fast, might not be as safe, but at least I can ride it for longer, right? So that's one thing. Or it might not go as fast. I mean, it might go as fast. It's not as safe, but it's cheaper. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, either way you put it, well actually it's not cheaper, but you can't find it cheaper. But I feel like the Inmotion V13, the suspension, the weight, the fact that you can't get a street tire on it unless you want to change it yourself, I feel like it's just too much things going in the wrong direction for Inmotion. I feel like this is more of a wheel that it's like a museum wheel, right? Like it shows people the capabilities of what an EUC can be. It's an aspirational wheel, right? As Ustra put it, where you can see where the unicycle companies are trying to go, where Inmotion is going. And I feel like Inmotion could have shot themselves in the foot because people are going to expect that amount of quality from every wheel going forward. So if people are expecting that amount of quality from every wheel going forward, the prices may get a little crazy and they might price themselves out the market because I feel like the veteran Sherman, as I don't see that price going down. I feel like that wheel right now is holding on to its position, and I feel like veteran did a very smart thing by coming out with the patent because in a way they're gonna cannibalize their own sales. So they're gonna compete with themselves. Like I feel like the Bugatti 4 last year was the word that a lot of people was looking at like that's a great idea, but the quality, everybody's always on the fence with the quality of Gold and the fact that it was cheaper. But to go $3,000, have the same suspension as the Sherman S, which is universally praised, except for the little bit amount of leaks and stuff that people been having. But I feel like when it comes down to it, I feel like the V13 just kind of priced itself out the market. It put itself in a corner. It's a jack of all trades, master of none. I feel like the only thing the V13 can hang its head on is when they unlock the quote unquote power and it's going 60, 70 miles per hour. Because then at that point, it's like, oh, I want the fastest wheel, I get the V13. You know what I'm saying? So until they do that, then they have kind of like a market. Like, oh, you want the fastest wheel? Then this. You want to race with a wheel going just straight, not turning. You know, obviously it's a heavy wheel. You're not going to be able to turn as much. Just take this. This is the wheel to be. But I guess we'll see. If I was in the market for V13, definitely hold off. I definitely say the Inmotion V13 is gonna go down to. I can see it. Maybe not this year. Not this full season, but definitely next year. It's probably gonna go down to $3,700 to $3,500 because I don't feel like nobody's gonna. If they didn't buy it already, I don't think no one is gonna be buying the Inmotion V13. It don't make no sense with the Sherman that's out. Even with the Commander Pro, it's just like, nah, I'm good. So hopefully you enjoy this. Catch you later.